Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Martian series, where we go to Mars and put a whole lot of stuff on Mars to make a giant mega colony where it can self-sustain and all that stuff. Anyway, so last episode, if you haven't already seen, I'm going to put the link in the description. We put a satellite and a rover on Mars. The satellite was to scout out some good areas to lay down the base, and the rover was just to make sure that it was what it seemed like. And so this episode, we're going to be trying to get a space station around Mars, so that way we can send a rocket, refuel there, go down to Mars, and then go back up with people. This is going to be crewed, and the people are going to refuel and then go back to Earth safely. Hopefully. But anyway, so basically, we're sending little pieces of the space station to Mars and docking them together, or joining them with a little docking port. And there are going to be some solar panels and all that other stuff or whatever. Space stations, well, in this game aren't really for they aren't really valuable other than refueling. But so basically, I'm trying to make it look kind of as like the aesthetics of it are going to be kind of cool. Anyway, I'm saving it so I can use it again. Yes, very very creative naming. Peak creativity. But yes, this took multiple times, multiple things to get there, and you'll see in the little montage later. But yes, we are going to send a whole lot of stuff to Mars today, and I'm also going to try to get the rocket there. Also in this episode, and those little blocks are basically the RCS thrusters, and those are what basically make because you have to be going very slow and at the same speed for the ability to dock to another craft. But here I'm staging it, and whenever I do dock to another craft, I'm going to have to slow down and all that stuff and go really slow. But here's the launch. Beautiful rocket, beautiful launch. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But anyway, orbit. I always go to the right. I don't know why you're supposed to always go to the right. I'm not sure if you're supposed to go to the left, but the right always works for me. A lot of people in the spaceflight simulator community say that that you should always orbit right. I also kind of think that, because that's probably what I've been doing most of the time. But right here, here, you see the beautiful jettison of the fairings and revealing the beautiful whatever's in it. But here we're about to get an orbit, and whenever I'm doing interstellar traveling, I don't really care about how big my orbit is or whatever, as long as it's in orbit. But here I'm setting my target for Mars, and I'm going to the transfer window. And while it takes a whole lot more fuel to go to for other planets, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But anyway, here, almost 800 meters per second. That's 8/10 of a kilometer per second faster I need to go to be able to actually intersect Mars. And not only do I have to intersect it, but I also have to slow down and kind of kill all my velocity. See, top right, velocity, I'm going about 2.34 kilometers a second. That's like godly speed. But yes, we're going to try to go for about a 30-kilometer orbit around Mars, because the atmosphere is thin. And the cool thing about Mars is that because it has an atmosphere, we can use parachutes, but it kind of also is a little bad because we have to. Peak creative naming. But yes, we do have to have a heat shield so that we can counteract the thick atmosphere. Well, not really thick, but the atmosphere of Mars. But we're passing by Phobos. You can see it right there. But yeah. Um, uh, but with planets or moons without atmospheres, like Phobos, for an example, or Mercury, you don't have to use a heat shield. That's the pro. But the con is that you kind of have to slow down with your engine, and that can be fuel consuming. And yep, there it is, the bottom. Hellas planet T. I don't know. Oh yeah, last episode, I nicknamed it HP. But there's the RCS, so I can kind of make the orbit exactly 30 kilometers. And yes, so this is I basically did this times 4 or 5, because I had to put more stuff so I can refuel and all that stuff. But it looks really cool at the end. Yes, so I'm lowering my orbit to get a nice, even, round 30 kilometers for my highest and lowest point in my orbit. So those little dots, that's like the aperiapsis and I don't specifically remember it, but basically it represents the highest and lowest points in orbit. And so whenever they're really close to being the same height, it gets a whole lot more fiddly, like it moves a whole lot more than it should. But anyway, here it is, the separation. It's the beginning of our space station. Okay, and I'm just deorbiting. I put a little capsule in there so I can deorbit. Well, not a little capsule, but a little probe. But anyway, I'm going to play the montage of the space station building. Okay. Anyways, okay, that I like the music too. It's from a game called Subnautica, an underwater game that I play. But anyway, this is going to be the rocket that I'm going to attach to the space station that's going to go down to Mars. Anyway, basically what I did is I slapped the top part of the rocket that I used to put the space station together, and then I just put a rocket that would seem enough to get out of Mars' atmosphere. But here you can see me putting a parachute. I'll fix that later. But yeah, right there. But here, with the I have two heat shields, one under the capsule and one just underneath the big engine at the bottom. That's for going into Mars, and then that little capsule is gonna go back to Earth. But anyway, we're gonna go to Mars and dock it, and hopefully get some more fuel. But yeah, we got some RCS to dock and to control ourselves whenever we go into the Mars orbit, because it can be really rough in there sometimes. But yep, here's the launch. Looks kind of weird because it isn't but here, because the top part is not attached that you would usually, that I'd usually see. But here we go. There are crew. There's crew on here. Let's see. There's gonna be 3 people on here. Well, there is now. They're named Billy, Bob, and Gruff. I'm not sure if that's all 3 of the goats' name. Billy, Bob, and Jimmy. Yes, Billy, Bob, and Jimmy. Those are all 3 of the crew members. But they are going to embark on a journey of a lifetime. First people on Mars. And I personally think that this kind of stuff is reasonable for humans to do. They can just send a few things to Mars and set up a space station, then send people there, maybe set up the space station a little bit more, and then go down to Mars with the thing that they came over with, and then go back up and get some fuel and go back home. But here I'm transferring, and I hope that I have enough fuel, because I don't want to dip in too much to the actual rocket's fuel. But the thing about it is that it's lighter than the payload that we had to Mars to set up the space station. So it's gonna be a little bit more efficient. But yep, we're right there now. And by the way, afterwards, I didn't record this though, but I put parachutes on the rocket because I forgot to do it during the building thing. You can see it now. Well, yeah, but there's parachutes that I'm going to use. And I put a whole lot because I usually have trouble going into the atmosphere. But yep, you're gonna see the entire process of docking. So first, what I'd do is I'd go to the same docking thing as the station, and then after that I'll see if I'm in front of it or behind it. If I'm in front of it, I need to slow down, and how I do that is I expand my orbit by a little bit, and then if I'm behind it, like in this case, I need to go faster, in which I'll lower my orbit. Yeah. This is the epilepsy warning, because if you do, it might trigger something. Yeah. You gotta go really fast to meet up with it. There we go. But yep, that's the space station. I came really, really close. I did not like that. But here we go. Yes, the space station is beautiful. I forgot to extend the solar panels though. I'll do that now. I'll do that afterwards, though. The cool thing about this game is that any size docking port can dock to any other size docking port. So anyway, here I'm refueling, and that's it in this video. I'll land on Mars next video, episode 3. Hope you enjoy. Bye.